Banda. Hace poco tuvimos la oportunidad de asistir a un evento especial para probar un demo bastante avanzado de Alien Isolation, el nuevo juego de survival horror distribuido por Sega con licencia de la mítica película de Ridley Scott, que está siendo desarrollado por los maestros de Creative Assembly, que quizás muchos de ustedes conozcan por la longeva serie Total War de juegos de estrategia. El evento contó con la presencia de Al Hope, líder creativo del equipo encargado de este título, y de hecho tuvimos la oportunidad de platicar con él sobre varias cosas. En primer lugar, quisimos saber por qué un estudio con tanto renombre e historia en el género de estrategia decidió cambiar drásticamente de rumbo y desarrollar un juego survival horror basado en una licencia tan importante como lo es Alien.
Well, this came very much from us. I've been a massive fan of the first film for a very long time, and I kept thinking that there must be a really awesome game experience based on the values of that first film. And I guess it was just us. We put together a small technical demo, which kind of showcased some of the look and feel of what that might be like, and the demo ended with this enormous alien confronting the player, and every time we showed it to people they got very excited, and so we never really looked back from that. And I think I kind of get it from the outside. It's kind of when Creative Assembly is obviously most well known for its awesome Total War games, but I've been working at Creative Assembly for many years, and I guess what's interesting is when I started we used to make sports games, and we wanted to branch out and make strategy games, and I remember people saying to us, why do you want to make strategy games? You make sports games. And so it's kind of it feels a little bit like history repeating itself, but I get it. I think, like I said, from the inside, and having worked there for a long time, I knew that that we had the talent and the scope and the ability to work in new directions. And so for me, it feels quite natural, but I kind of understand from the outside it feels a little bit left field.
Otra cosa que nos interesó saber es de dónde proviene la idea de crear un juego de terror basado en esta franquicia, ya que en los últimos años pareciera que la tendencia ha sido explotar el potencial en el género de acción que tiene la serie.
Yeah, I mean, so for us, this is the Alien game that we've always wanted to play. A game that goes back to the roots of the series and back to Ridley Scott's Haunted House in Space. It was the idea of what it would be like to confront that original alien, and what would it be like to make a game where just one alien would be really meaningful and terrifying to the player. To have an alternative experience, one where the alien wasn't just like a bullet sponge at the end of your pulse rifle. That a game where you could have this kind of really intense game of cat and mouse with the alien, and what would that be like? That felt like a completely different experience, and one that really seemed to capture the spirit and the essence of that first film.
El demo que pudimos probar nos puso directamente en control de Amanda Ripley, la hija de la legendaria protagonista de la franquicia, que se encuentra en busca de respuestas sobre la desaparición de su madre y lo que pasó en el Nostromo. De hecho, la historia del juego busca continuar o brindar al jugador una mirada a un aspecto de la trama de esta serie muy relacionada a la primera película, con todo y una atmósfera llena de tensión y sin tanta faramalla.
Now the story for the game takes place, we wanted to create a story that was really closely associated, as close as possible to that first film. And so Alien Isolation takes place 15 years after the events of the first film, so 15 years after the Nostromo goes missing. Wayne Yutani believe that someone's found the black box flight recorder of the Nostromo, and they send a really small crew to simply go and retrieve it. Now Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter, who's been searching for answers to her mother's disappearance her whole life, volunteers to be part of that small crew. Of course, when they reach this remote space station, she gets to confront the horror that separated her from her mother in the first place.
Hemos de decir que estamos bastante satisfechos con el gameplay que pudimos probar en el demo. La nueva ola de juegos de terror que nos pone en el lugar de un protagonista que es básicamente indefenso contra todas las amenazas que lo rodean se ha vuelto muy prominente en estos últimos años, pero percibimos que Isolation no desea nada más montarse en éxitos ajenos. El grado de libertad e interactividad con el mundo se perciben muy amplios desde que pones tus pies por primera vez en la estación espacial que te toca explorar, la Sebastopol. El juego no te toma de la mano ni te indica cómo resolver los diversos acertijos. Todo depende de la exploración, tu ingenio y atención, sin olvidar el elemento clave, que muchos aspectos del juego son completamente aleatorios y dependen de las acciones del jugador. El núcleo central del gameplay de Alien Isolation puede llegar a dar como resultado uno de los juegos más interactivos e interesantes que han tenido la franquicia.
So for me, I think the core of the game of Alien Isolation is this direct encounter with the alien. This game of cat and mouse, where you're up against this really reactive and dynamic entity in the alien. We realized early on that the alien couldn't be scripted or have it working on predefined paths, that if you knew what was going to happen, if you could predict what was going to happen, then it would no longer be scary, and all tension would evaporate. And so our alien uses its senses to track you down, so it's looking for you, it's listening, those are the senses that are driving its behavior. And what that means is that your actions as the player really influence and have a big impact on how encounters play out. And that also means that every single time you play against the alien, it's different. And I think that's kind of the magic for me, that you can have a whole bunch of friends playing the game, and they'll start at the same point and end at the same point, but each of them will have a completely different story, a different journey as to how they survived moment to moment, as the nature of the gameplay is really emergent and organic. Aside from that, it's not just about stealth and hiding. For every encounter we give the player a number of different approaches as to how they can survive. So yeah, you can absolutely try and make sure you stay hidden and evade the sort of things that you're confronted with, or you can use some of the interesting tools and devices that are in the game to distract the opponents, get them interested in something to manipulate the world around you so that you can bypass without avoiding confrontation. Or lastly, we do give you some offensive weaponry. You can take on what you're confronted with, but that's massively high risk and can potentially make the situation even worse. However, moment to moment, you need to be evaluating what the best option is, and you may be forced into using one of these options. And so, I think that's the kind of the core of the game is that moment to moment, asking the player how will they survive.
Debido a que nosotros, y para tal caso mucha gente allá afuera, somos fans de Alien, resulta preocupante algunas veces qué tan fiel resultará la adaptación de una franquicia tan icónica como esta. Es por eso que nos complació ver el cuidado que ha tomado el estudio para transportar el mundo de Alien a los videojuegos. No se trata nada más de imitar y ver si funciona, sino que también hay que entender el género y la época en la que se realizó la película. Ustedes saben, ese futuro analógico de baja definición que obviamente ya no pasó.
So I think it's probably obvious to see that we're massive fans of that first film, and not least that kind of lo-fi sci-fi 70s view of the future. I think the first phase of development was for quite a few departments, not least the art team. A phase of deconstruction of taking all the elements from the sets and the movie sets and the film apart, so we could really understand almost at an atomic level what makes Alien. We also had massive support from 20th Century Fox, who gave us an incredible archive of production material, and much of which I don't think was ever been seen in the public domain, and that gave us an additional wealth and insight into how the world was created. And so the film is something like 116 minutes long, and we knew we needed to generate hours and hours of content, and so I think the team have done an amazing job of creating new and expanding upon the sort of the familiar look and feel of Alien, with completely new and fresh worlds and environments, and I think if you're a fan of the series, I think you're going to really appreciate the kind of level of detail and care and attention that we've put into those worlds.
Podemos decirles que aquí en 3gb.com.mx nos encontramos bastante entusiasmados con el lanzamiento de este título el próximo 7 de octubre para el PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, Xbox 360 y la PC. Originalmente nos encontrábamos algo escépticos debido a los recientes fracasos que Sega ha tenido con la franquicia y por la rareza de que un estudio como Creative Assembly estuviera detrás del proyecto. No por la calidad del estudio, sino por su falta de experiencia en el género de survival horror. Por suerte, el título es muy atmosférico y el constante acoso que se percibe de la criatura le infunde una premura muy particular que muy probablemente le erice los pelos de la nuca a más de uno de ustedes. En el papel suena un juego muy sencillo, un juego que imita a la perfección la atmósfera que se sintió en la película original. Lo extraño es que se haya tardado tanto tiempo en llegar. Esperemos que cuando el título se encuentre en las tiendas cumpla las expectativas que se tienen de la serie y la que nos generó personalmente al poder probarlo.
Hi, so for all Alien fans, all survival horror fans, and action adventure fans, I can't wait for you to be playing Alien Isolation. It's the Alien game that we've always wanted to play, and it's going to be a great game that for the first time will allow you to experience what it's like to encounter Ridley Scott's original Alien. Check it out.
Para 3gb.com.mx soy Adrián, esperando verlos en otra ocasión o en algún otro evento relacionado al mundo de los videojuegos.